farming. Really? Man of your talents?
Luke's just not a farmer.
It's a peaceful life. Lonely, I imagine.
Boom, boom.
Hey, this is Time Bomb, and if it's your first time checking out the channel, hit that subscribe button to catch all the updates. Today, in this video, I'm going to do a guide to AI farming, and I'm going to break it down into kind of three different areas: the ships and oxes and how to use them. We're going to talk about the packs and how they work, and then we're going to talk about the different phases of farming between opening and defense, because on offense, you should not be farming. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is the ship loadouts, and we're just going to kind of talk about them a little bit here. The TIE Bomber versus the Y-Wing. So the TIE Bomber, much easier to generate boost and to always have overcharged lasers, so you can move in much quicker to get packed, where the Y-Wing is a little bit slower. Now the Y-Wing has a little bit more of an advantage when it comes to destroying the TIE Fighter AI packs, because they are sort of like a 5 on a die. They're just all grouped together, so they're just much easier to kill with either of the Oxes, whereas the X-Wing AIs for the New Republic fly in the V pattern, so it can make it tougher to take them all out at once. And as well, when they move, they make it much more difficult. They don't stay together in a group. It's more likely that they will break up in different ways. They can split into 2s and 3s much more easily if they hit anything. So it does create issues for the TIE Bomber, even though that it's faster and always has the overcharged lasers. Now, there's some debate about standard versus rotary in how effective it is as a farmer. Of course, rotary is not a problem, and once you get it up, you can very quickly pop an AI, but there is that little bit of wind-up time. Players are very good at feathering and keeping it up all the time, but the standard, instantly there when you need to, and it does take maybe slightly longer, but still very effective that way to just quickly spray all of them as you need to, whereas the rotary is a little bit different. The rotary is still very effective that way. Another good rule is you always want to use 1 Ox per pack on AI when you're taking out an entire pack. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the 2 Oxes that you should be using, obviously the Golo and the multi-lock missiles. Now your Goliath, when you are using the Y-Wing here and you're farming the TIE Fighter AI, you want to aim the middle, but you can get much more variation if you miss or you're under pressure and you don't want to change which one you're locking on. You can kind of send any of them because they're so close together. You're going to get all 5 of them. With the TIE Bomber, you really want to hit that middle one, and you want to make sure that it hits quickly, so they don't start turning away and then you only get 4 of them. You really want to try, and it can still be tough to get all 5 at once with the Golo. Now, when you're using the multi-lock missiles, what you want to do is, before you want to fire them out, you want to prep the pack by shooting lasers on them. That's to a lesson that Darkblade had taught me when it comes to AI farming. You want to spray when you're in the Y-Wing and you've got the pack of TIE Fighter AI, you want to do a little kind of like circle around them while the multis are locking, then send out the 4, and then spray the last one with lasers to finish it off so that you can get all 5, and you then move on to the next one. So you kind of want to do that in between, just using your lasers if you need to finish off that pack. So you dedicate the multis for 1 pack and the Golos to another to finish it up, and by the time you've finished the second pack with the multis, you should have your Golo back up for the next pack, and you're just kind of alternating between them that way and taking out all 5 at a time. Prepping the X-Wing AI as well is a little tougher. You don't have the same circle to hit them at all, and you want to hit them rather than in a V and having to go back and forth on them. You want them to be lined up in a straight line, so you shoot at them that way, get as many as you can line up that way, and then send your multis out and finish off the last one that didn't get locked onto. You know what, and I did mention this too above about 1 Ox per pack. So when you get into the situation when you're on a pack and you've used a Golo on it, maybe it didn't get all of them, you don't want to use your multi on the remaining one there. With the exception if it was the last AI maybe you needed for the flip. But you generally, and even then you should still laser it, but you don't want to use more than 1 Ox per pack, and you want to finish them off with lasers if you don't get all of them with that Ox. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next section, talking about the packs and the way that AI works. On the field at any time in any phase, there would be 3 packs of AI before you have killed them. They fly predetermined routes. Those routes will change on offense and defense, but they'll actually stay the same on both those phases. It just may seem like the routes change on defense because the flagships are moving forward or back. With the exception of Fostar, the packs legitimately do change routes. There is an inside station route during the frigate phase, and then an outside route that happens later as it moves to flagship. So that's one exception for sure. But with the rest of them, they're doing the exact same routes. It's just the flagships that are moving between them. So you always know where the AI will be. The routes don't change. If you kill it pack on defense, basically it takes 1 minute for it to be back in that same location, unless it'll hit some sort of environment that it's going to break it up and make it take longer for it to get there. On the opening, respawn is the same amount of time as a player respawn. So after you kill a pack, it still has 15 seconds before it'll respawn and then come out. So on the opening, there's really, if you kill all of the AI and both teams do this at such a sequence that it's happening there together at the same time, that the morale is just balanced out in 45 seconds. Let's say they all do this. Let's say all the packs are done basically in sequence within that 45 seconds. There will be 15 seconds where there's no AI on the map at all, if that happens that effectively. That generally doesn't happen. There's something off. There's the third pack there that teams are working down afterwards. Maybe there's a kill or something like that. But you get what I'm saying there. There's a time period where there is a more of a limited amount of AI on the field that is limited before it's replenishing. On the defense phase, the respawn is instant. There's a respawn point that as soon as you kill them, the AI will then go to. So there's almost an advantage to farming midfield rather than waiting for that minute for them to get to the same place where you killed them last. You may want to move up on them and cut them off at that point. The best example being Essless, where you get them around, you can see them coming back, and then around the dish they kind of maybe break up. There's a point where you can kill them easier. Yavin, there's a lot of examples of that where you'll just kind of see them coming right up the middle. Now, packs can break up, like I said, if they hit debris, cap ships, flagships, other starships, AIs, the players and map environment. Environment-heavy maps such as Nadiri, Galatan, Fostar, and Xavian make the packs break up much more and are tougher to farm maps, which of course, Yavin, amazing farm, Sasubo, great farm. There's just better to farm maps for sure that people can see, and that's because the environment doesn't break up the packs. It makes it easier to kill. And I think a lot of times people say the Empire is the better one, but because of the way that the X-Wings fly, it can be a little more annoying to farm them, whereas the Y-Wing, although you're more vulnerable, much easier to take out the TIE Fighter packs. So we're going to talk now about the difference between the two phases. The opening phase, a lot of times what you'll see teams do is send out the dumbfires, which is just sending out a Golo missile. That Golo missiles will explode at 2,000 after you send them. So the point is that you're lining up your dumbfire Golo so that it will explode at a point when there's all the AI pack right there. So it's just 2 points to just in an intersect. You send your Golo and it intersects with the AI at that point and blows them up. Get all 5 at once there, and then while you're sent that out, you're already moving on to multi the next pack, so you're getting multiple packs as quickly as possible. A lot of times teams will catch dumbfires, so that's why, especially with the TIE bombers now, you'll see those farmers on the opening just go out and get them. Even if they have sent the dumbfire, they're also going in for really quickly to get another one as fast as they can, almost expecting one to be caught. But I still think there's definite value to the dumbfires, especially if you can get them sent out as early as possible. Or short range ones. I think I had a weird one on Galatan that was actually the fastest one, but I had to dumbfire it off the Corvette when the AI were right there, and it was just a little bit inconsistent and tough to do it. But there's things like that using the environment to do a dumbfire that may be a big advantage actually moving forward that teams may look at. Now on the opening, there's the thing that happens. So you're obviously going to be beaconed at a certain point, and so you will lose your countermeasure. You're going to lose that chaff. When you have your chaff, sure, it's a lot easier to avoid the dunks and continue farming. It's the other thing. Under pressure on that opening, a player needs to continue farming. They have the support there to help them out. The TIE Bomber, that's enough sometimes to shake a flex player. If the support player just sends them resupply and they're like, well, that work I had, just getting them down to 40 haul, now they just got 30 haul back, what the heck? You know, like that's enough to drive a flex player mad in that situation. But still in the Y-Wing, much more vulnerable. You get dunked, you gotta survive. That's why you see people using reinforced hull more, conversion shields to get it back quickly, just anything they can do to stay alive a little bit longer, get a little more extra farm out there in the Y-Wing. You can't rely on peels because your flex players are a lot of times going for the other team's bombers. So it's really on you to avoid dunks using, you know, movement, your targeting computer environment, anything you can when you're beaconed or you run out of countermeasures. AI has, like I said, the same player respawn time in the opening, so you know once you kill one, it is a huge priority to get it. Because listen, when you need to kill a whole pack, because once it respawns, one will fly back to where the pack is. So if you only kill the one and then it's going, and then you kill the other 3, then they're going to try to fly back to where that one remaining one is still. So you've only gotten 4 of them, and they're all split up. The 1 and the 3 are trying to catch up to that 1, but they're a different route. So your partner might see those 3 on the way in, take them out. It's just the sequence of these packs never being back together, where the optimal way is to do all 5 at the same time. Now in defense, you're not going to have the same pressure, typically, that you did on the opening. The defense, you typically have little to no pressure, although that is changing, especially in the Y-Wing. You may see a little bit more pressure as teams are trying to extend phases by getting a pick, and by taking out a farmer, you both get that pick and stop them from generating that morale. Same thing, you need to finish the whole pack at a time, because you don't want that one to be off and then respawning and just messing up the sequencing that way. It just makes the whole thing a mess, and it just really messes up you and your partner and what packs you're going for, and generating consistent morale with all of your Oxes. Teams may bully and suppress the farm, but still the support can heal easier the Y-Wings and the bombers because you're right there on defense. So, you know, defense needs to be done quickly, and you need to work with your partner. The other farmer, you need to know where they are, what packs they're farming, and you're working together on these 3 packs, and then knowing, you know, because then each pack is worth 15 morale on the opening and defense. So 5 AI, 3 each, 15 morale. So 15, 30, 45 morale right there is how you're generating a big part of the flip. And then a raider and a kill is going to get you the other 30 to get you to 75 and get that flip. So it's the farm happening as fast as possible is key. Once it, I mean, if they don't get the pick, then you get the other pack that's going to come in there. You know, basically that's when you're looking at a 1 minute. So if you think about it in time-wise on defense, you've got 3 packs available for you, 45 morale, and then they're going to start coming back again. So you have to move forward a little bit to get them. You have a 45. So in that 45-second range where the new packs are all coming forward for you to generate morale again and get enough, even if anything happens. But at that point, at this point in the game, 45 seconds is when teams in comp are getting frigates out of phaseable, they're burning through, so all that work is pulled away, and then it's like, oh, now we got to move forward, now we got to burn raider, and that's where you see the game at right now, where teams are optimizing damage. It is really changing right now, so the farm has to be done efficiently in sequence with the flex players. The game is pushed as far as it can be on the optimum level there, so to defend properly is very difficult, and you have to basically do it perfectly in under 1 minute, really, to counter these really fast attacks. But generally, if you use these principles in any sort of ladder game, you'll obviously have success, because teams aren't just doing those sub 1 minute attacks, so you should be able to generate enough morale even in a minute 30, basically, in a single frigate attack, and teams aren't really ready for the second one. So it's basically going to help you out, I hope, with these different ideas, maybe you rethink about farming, even if you did know a lot about it, and just, you know, some different stuff and thoughts. That's my AI farming guide. Thanks a lot, God, my AI farming guide. I'm Time Bomb. Thanks a lot for checking out. I'll catch you guys later.
Boom, boom.